There are 298 prisoners on death row in the state of Florida. This is part 16 of the series. Gary Whitten, 64 years old, 31 years on death row. James Malden was murdered on October 10, 1990, and Gary Whitten was found guilty and given the death penalty. At a halfway house in Pensacola, where the two men were receiving alcohol treatment, Gary Whitten met James Malden in March 1989. Whitten and Malden continued to see each other after leaving the halfway home, usually during meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. Malden spent the night at Whitten's house on October 7, 1990, after arriving inebriated. The two guys traveled to Destin on October 8, 1990, so Malden could make a withdrawal from his bank. The man came back the next day because the bank was closed. When the bank teller informed Malden that he could not withdraw money without his passbook, which he lacked, Malden canceled his account. Because Malden was too drunk to accomplish it himself, Whitten helped him complete out the paperwork needed to close his account. Malden took over $1,000 out of the bank. The two men then booked rooms at a Destin hotel. Whitten used the fictitious license plate number on the hotel documents. Because of the mismatch in the license plate numbers, the hotel clerk noted it and entered the right details on the forms. At around 12 p.m., after checking in, Whitten departed the hotel, and he asserted he never came back. Whitten then admitted to the police that he did come back for a little period of time, but that Malden had already passed away when he got there. The hotel employee reported seeing Whitten's car come at around 10:30 p.m. and depart once more at around 12:30 a.m. Next day, Malden's body was discovered by the same hotel employee. Malden had several wounds, including stab wounds to the shoulder, cheek, neck, scalp, back, and heart. He also had a cracked skull. Malden had only some spare change on him when he died, according to police records, and tests showed that he had a 0.34 blood alcohol level at the time. On October 11, 1990, the hotel clerk informed the police that Whitten had provided fraudulent information on the hotel papers, and they summoned Whitten to the station for questioning. A pair of blood-stained boots that matched Malden's blood type were discovered during a search of Whitten's house. In his car, the authorities discovered bloodstains that also matched Malden's blood type. Whitten admitted to an inmate and was overheard by another inmate that he went back to the hotel to rob Malden and killed him because he was scared that Malden would testify against him in a parole violation hearing as a result of the robbery. Whitten was being held in jail awaiting trial at the time. Statements from both convicts attesting to this knowledge were provided. Dusty Spencer, 71 years old, 31 years on death row. For the murder of his wife, Karen Spencer, Dusty Spencer was found guilty and given the death penalty. Early in December 1991, Karen Spencer gave her husband Dusty the order to vacate their residence. Dusty questioned Karen about money she had taken from the bank account for their painting business on December 10, 1991. During the violent struggle that followed this argument, Dusty choked, beat, and threatened to kill Karen. After she called the police, they arrived and took Dusty into custody. Later, Dusty called Karen from behind bars and yelled at her. Since Christmas was close, Dusty was invited to spend the holiday with his family, but Karen asked him to leave after Christmas. Dusty admitted to his pals on New Year's Day that he had pondered drowning Karen by tossing her over his boat. He visited Karen's house once more on January 4, 1992, and they fought again. During their fight, Timothy Johnson, Karen's son, woke up and entered his mother's bedroom. Johnson claimed that Dusty was standing over Karen and striking her with a clothes iron. Johnson stepped in, and Dusty whacked him with the iron as Johnson went to his room. Karen left the house in search of help. Dusty removed the phone from the wall while Johnson was attempting to call for help. After leaving the residence, he also left the city. Tim Johnson and Karen Spencer were transported to the hospital, where a doctor determined that Karen's injuries were compatible with being struck by a clothes iron. Timothy Johnson overheard arguing on November 18, 1992, in the backyard. He went outside after taking a gun from his mother's room. He saw Dusty Spencer slamming a stone at his mother. He saw blood on Karen Spencer's face as well. Johnson claimed he attempted to shoot Dusty Spencer, but the gun malfunctioned. He used the gun's butt to strike Spencer in the head as a result. Karen's nightgown was then pushed up by Dusty, who also shouted filthy remarks and banged her head against a concrete wall. Johnson attempted to help his mother flee from Dusty while Karen begged him to stop. Johnson fled to a neighbor's house to get help after Dusty threatened him with a knife. When the police arrived, they discovered Karen lifeless. She had been stabbed 4 or 5 times in the chest, according to the police. She had also sustained defensive cuts to her wrists and arms, as well as blunt force damage to the head. Roderick Orme, 62 years old, 30 years on death row. Orme and Red were friends. On March 3, 1992, Orme made a call to Red at the motel where he was staying. Red was a nurse, and Orme called her because he had been freebasing cocaine and was experiencing a bad high. According to Orme's first and second statements, Red came at his hotel room sometime between 7 and 8:30 p.m. and between 9 and 10 p.m. Orme claims that Miss Red accidentally knocked the crack pipe out of his hand, resulting in the loss of his drugs. She also inserted a number of crack pieces into the toilet. Then Orme drove away in Miss Red's car while using her keys and handbag to go partying. Orme claimed that he had gone back to the hotel several times and that when he recognized something was wrong, it was still dark outside. However, he was unable to enter the room since he had left his key there. Orme did not acknowledge any involvement in the murder of Miss Red in either of his statements to the police. In the early hours of March 4, 1992, Orme arrived at a rehab facility in Panama City, Florida. He had received treatment at this facility for his significant history of substance misuse 1 year prior to this day. Orme was confused and unable to respond to inquiries that morning, yet he still managed to write down the name of the hotel. Orme was showing signs of delirious tremors and had a flushed complexion, all of which are signs of acute cocaine withdrawal. Cocaine was detected in Orme's blood, and for almost 30 hours he was in intensive care. Additionally, Orme had illegal barbiturates in his possession. Calling Lee's motel, someone at the rehabilitation facility requested that room 15 be checked. The body of Lisa Red was discovered when the motel owner examined the room. She had been severely assaulted, and strangling was the manner of death. Michael Robinson, 58 years old, 28 years on death row. Michael Robinson was given the death penalty for the slaying of his girlfriend Jane Sylvia. Robinson's mother phoned the police on August 8, 1994. She informed them that her son had admitted to killing Jane Sylvia, his lover. The police conducted a search of Robinson's recently abandoned home in response to this information. Bloodstains were found on the carpet. Robinson was detained on unrelated minor narcotics charges on August 10, 1994. He was given a Miranda warning, but he chose to ignore it. He claimed that 5 drug dealers killed Sylvia at his apartment in an effort to recover some drug money. According to him, the man stole $100 and struck the woman with a hammer. He buried the body once the man had gone. On August 16, 1994, Robinson gave the police a different account and said that he had stolen goods from Sylvia's home, including electrical equipment, in order to purchase crack cocaine. Robinson had a long history of abusing drugs, including alcohol, Mary Jane, and crack cocaine. To replace the things Robinson had stolen, Sylvia received money from Robinson's mother. Robinson had sold the stolen goods to the drug dealer, so Sylvia went with him. The drug dealer informed Sylvia and Robinson that he had sold Sylvia's belongings. Sylvia dozed off on the couch the night of the murder, July 24, 1994. He retrieved a long-handled steel drywall hammer with a waffle-patterned head and a claw on the rear after she had fallen asleep. Sylvia woke up to some extent when Robinson returned inside carrying the hammer. Robinson waited for her to fall back asleep. He moved around the back of the couch after Sylvia went back to sleep and started hammering her in the head, each blow forcing the metal into her skull. He twisted the hammer around and hit her with the claw as well. Robinson then pulled out a carving knife with serrations. To stop her from breathing and her heart from beating, he inserted the knife into the soft region of her throat and down into her chest. He then covered Sylvia's body with cloth before burying it. Robinson led the police to Sylvia's gravesite. The reason Sylvia was slain, according to Robinson's account to the police, was so that she wouldn't confirm a police report that she had made after Robinson had taken her items. He additionally claimed that he murdered Sylvia in order to take the cash she was hiding in her shoe. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.